Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Tim Ports. I'm the Executive Director of the Pellet Fuels Institute. It is my pleasure this morning to share just a couple of thoughts and summary of a 2019-2020 social media advertising platform we are making available to specialty hearth retailers. Joining me on today's call are Carrie Annan, the program architect and facilitator, and Adam Martin, a specialty hearth retailer in Pennsylvania. Adam was a participant in last year's social media beta test, where we really tested this concept in 6 different markets. We'll share some of our lessons learned, and this year we're enthused to roll this out to all interested specialty hearth retailers. We've worked hard to make the program efficient, easy to use, and low cost. And I look forward to sharing all of those particulars with you here in the next 20 to 25 minutes, I suppose, we'll spend talking about the program. So let's dive right in. So what am I talking about here? I am talking about a social media campaign that specifically targets consumers in your market area and puts a pro pellet heating message in their social media platforms, whether it be Facebook or Instagram. Those are the 2 platforms. Again, I want to reiterate that these are sponsored ads that appear in a targeted consumer's social media feed. Everyone that has social media certainly is familiar with what sponsored content looks like and the purpose of it. One of the things we also want to underscore is that any activity that the consumer engages in, if the consumer is interested in learning more based on the sponsored content, the links will redirect that consumer to your Facebook page or a website. So all of this is geared to deliver consumers to you, not to the Pellet Fuels Institute website, instead to you and your online or social media presence. Why are we doing that? Why is that important for the Pellet Fuels Institute to do? Pellet fuel manufacturers rarely have a direct interface to consumers. However, for our opportunity to grow as producers of a fuel, the number of appliances that burn our fuel out there need to increase. We see this as a direct action that we can offer retailers to deliver a consumer to you more apt to ask about pellet heating, more apt to ask about pellet appliances as they consider a new heating appliance purchase. It is important to stress in the second bullet point here that this is a campaign that is intended to complement what you're already doing from an advertising and marketing perspective, and in fact is intended to complement your existing social media presence. Adam will talk about that a little bit in his upcoming remarks. This certainly, when Adam participated in our beta test last year, it was not his only marketing effort, nor was it his only social media effort. It is a complement to what you're already doing. Again, third bullet point here, these ads promoting pellet heating. That's probably important to stress right here. These are ads that do promote pellet heating. The Pellet Fuels Institute is not going to be producing ads that just direct people to wood heating generally, or heating generally, or even just your retail location generally. It is a pro pellet heating message that directs consumers to your retail location where they can make a pellet appliance purchase if they so choose. So the goal of the program is to deliver the consumer to you more apt to ask about pellet heating. What happens from there, of course, is all up to you. Now, there is a cost for the program, and I want to explain that because, again, we've worked very hard to make this as an efficient and cost-effective program as is possible at all. Total cost for the program is $1,500. What do I get for the $1,500? Well, the first thing you do is you get a PFI retailer membership valued at $300. So by virtue of participating in the program, you will be a PFI member and have access to all those member benefits that are articulated on our website, pelletheat.org, as well as $400 in advertising credits. So sponsored content does cost money. This is the business model of Facebook and Instagram, as I'm sure everybody is well aware of. So the program cost in your $1,500, you already take on a $400 advertising credit. How far does that $400 go? We'll dig into that a little bit further in the conversation this morning, but you do start the program with money in the bank to get those sponsored ads out there. So $1,500 total cost. It includes a PFI retail membership and $400 in advertising credits. I wanted to get right to, well, what does this actually look like, right? What do sponsored content, sponsored ads that are pro pellet appliance look like? And these are actually live ads from last year's social media beta test. You can see these are examples on Facebook. We've got pictures of appliances, cozy interiors, talking about pellet heating. So, and what's great about the social media platform is it really does allow us some flexibility of message. So it's hard to say what might happen this heating season relative to the price of wood pellet heating as compared to heating oil. Heating oil prices fluctuate wildly. If by chance heating oil becomes incredibly far more expensive than wood pellet heating, we can certainly pivot our message, talk to consumers about the savings offered by wood pellet heating at that time, et cetera, et cetera. A couple of other things that I wanted to point out that are really important as you consider whether or not this is something that you would like to explore further for your own social media presence is if you look at the Upper Valley Stove Company and Martin Sales and Service, below the image of the appliances on those slides, you see that there is a specific offer per retailer involved. Now, these are custom. These are offerings that were decided upon by our social media participants, beta test participants. So if you've got a specific promotion that you're running and would like that to be reflected in the sponsored content that's part of this program allows you to do that. So if you're giving away a free ton of pellets with an appliance purchase, very easy to add that into the sponsored content. We had giveaway products last year running in concert with our social media beta test. We had discounts off of a full year supply of pellets. We had free tons of pellets. It really can run the gamut. So I wanted to point that out. This is intended to complement those promotional and marketing messages that you're already taking to the consumers in your market area. Here's an Instagram example. Instagram is a very, very fast-growing social media platform. It's got some benefits from the demographics of the people that are involved in Instagram looking at Instagram. Instagram, of course, is owned by Facebook, so that allows us to deliver that sponsored content into both social media streams, really covering a lot of basics there in terms of, or a lot of our bases in terms of who we're putting the message in front of and how it's getting to those consumers. I want to talk just a little bit more about our social media beta test. At this point in the conversation, I'm also going to ask Carrie Annan to come and talk a little bit more about it. But again, I want the opportunity to lay out sort of what I consider the big numbers that we achieved, and this really does make an argument for why you really can't ignore social media. On a relatively small budget, again, we had 6 retailers in 6 different markets participating in our social media beta test, with very similar ad spends to the $400 that are included in this program. So we're not talking about thousands of dollars in sponsored content spend. We're talking the same numbers over 6 markets. So really just $2,500 in total ad spend across the entire category. We were able to reach 200,000 different consumers in those 6 markets, not consumers in just wherever, 200,000 consumers that could drive to our participating retailers and inquire more about wood pellet heating or just heating in general. 200,000 consumers with impressions of nearly 3 million. So impressions means the number of times that an ad shows up in a consumer's feed. Obviously, you can do the math. The consumers who saw the messages saw them multiple times, saw them maybe even a dozen times each. So nice saturation in our markets and nice sort of staying power relative to the number of times that those messages, images are carried to that consumer. At this point, I do want to turn the call over to Carrie Anand, again, program architect, facilitator of the program, get into a little bit more detail about what we learned last year on our social media beta test. And Carrie will turn the call back over to me. I'll ask our retailer presenter a few questions this morning, and we'll get you back to your day. So go ahead, Carrie. Tell us just a little bit more about what we learned last year.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks to everyone who called in today and is participating in this webinar. I did want to reiterate that you will be working directly with me when you do participate in the program. We work together to place the ads, to direct them to your website, and to determine the incentive that your store is willing to offer for retailers in your area. So if we can advance the slide, I'm not sure if I have that capability.
I got you, Carrie. Whoops. I'll go back one more.
Okay,
Sorry,
there
right there. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to touch on why exactly we're talking about social media and why we're utilizing social media for this campaign specifically. I'm sure every retailer has its own marketing efforts, and maybe you are already engaged in social media. I think that comparing social media to traditional media is instructive, and I think it shows us why social media is such a valuable tool for a marketing campaign like this. So if you're placing an ad in a newspaper or on a radio spot, which are very good ways and effective ways of getting to consumers, you have to trust that they're going to see or hear that ad and come to the store. With social media, particularly with Facebook, which is a very powerful marketing tool, you're able to get feedback right away. As you place the ads, you're able to see how many people are seeing the ads and how many people are actually interacting with them and clicking through to the retailer's Facebook page or website. Of course, we want, and we'll hear more from Adam about this a little bit later, but we'd love to have more data on the number of customers that go to stores because they saw a Facebook ad, and we'd love to work with you on that. But in terms of putting an ad out there and seeing how people respond to it, it doesn't get any better than Facebook. You're able to see how many people clicked on the ad and who it was in particular. I think, and we can talk a little bit about the audiences that we target too. Last year we had several audiences that we put ads out to, and when you're designing the ad and placing it, you can get pretty granular on who you're targeting an ad to. Again, we place ads only to Facebook use and Instagram users within a 25-mile radius of the address of the store. So these are people that are able to get to the store. It's not, there's a retailer in Arizona participating. We're not targeting your ad to someone in Oregon. It's all right there in your area. And the audiences that we that we particularly feature are young homeowners and older homeowners, a green audience, and people who are maybe more interested in supporting the local economy. So those are kind of the four audiences that we target to. We use messages that feature different assets and different attributes of a pellet stove. They're cozy and warm. You don't need a fireplace to get wood heat, that cozy wood heat feeling. You're supporting the local economy, and you are getting a kind of a green heat source. And those are kind of the messages that we work with. We also update them monthly to make sure that we're capturing holiday messages and the time of year. So last year, we had a Thanksgiving message, we had a holiday message, and a New Year's message. Get this cozy wood heat by Christmas, or that kind of thing. So it enables us to. It's pretty nimble. It enables us to not only get this instant feedback from the customers we target to, but it enables us to tweak the message and to see which ones are actually working the best.
Got it. Carrie, we talked just briefly about sort of, and I'll advance to the next slide, but I want you to just talk a little bit about cost, how far this, let's just say I'm a retailer and I participate at the very basic level. Again, it's important to note, you get $400 of advertising credit once you sign up for the program. Now, if you choose to augment that and spend more money and throw another $400 of advertising spend at it, you would thereby double. But how far does $400 go? It just sounds like not very much money when you think about the cost of radio or even small town newspapers. Does $400 go a long way in the social media world?
So you're right that $400 is not a lot for a 4-month campaign like this. What we do is we take the $400 allotted to Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising. We divide that into 4 for each of the 4 months that we conduct the campaign. So every month we're putting $100 into purchasing ads in your area. A lot of the retailers that we have been working with are located in small to mid-sized towns. So if you're talking about how far does $100 go, that will get you to tens of thousands of people in the area within 25-mile radius, and they see those ads multiple times during the 4 months. So it is very cost effective, and from our targeting last year, we're able to see that we spent 99 cents per 1,000 impressions last year. So that gets you a pretty wide audience in your area. When you're talking about clicks and how many people interacted with the ads themselves, the spend was something more like 74 cents per click. And that's not data that you would be able to get from a newspaper ad or a radio spot. You could probably guess at that, but you wouldn't have that data readily available. So it's something that we track throughout the program. We're able to actually get that data to you, so that you, as the retailer, can figure out how many people have been targeted and have seen these Facebook ads, and ideally to track how many that people that translates in coming to your stores.
Right, and I think it's important to remind people that with just the same level of investment of $400 against 6 different markets, the data that you see here on this slide, 2.8 million impressions, just under 3,000 unique users clicking, that was all delivered with that, $2,400 total sponsored ad investment. Yes, there were some administrative costs, but in terms of the money that we actually spent deploying those ads into Facebook and Instagram, that achieved this. So it is a very modest spend, but Carrie was outlining, you're talking 1/10 of a cent per click, right? Per impression. rather. The clicks, obviously, you've got a lot of people not clicking, so your per click price is a function of how effective that is. But the other thing that I wanted to point out from this slide that I thought was interesting, again, 3,000 people, different users, different consumers actually followed that link back to one of our participating retailers. And there was a little bit of variation, not much, though. It was really a kind of a peanut butter spread. So question that I ask for you is, as a retailer, as you're considering this, if $400 got you 500 people that would actually come to your website, and that were motivated to come to your website by a heating appliance message, yes, in this instance, a pellet heating appliance message, is that worth it? Is it worth it to you to amplify your own marketing efforts to, again, each market was seeing between 20 and 25,000 different consumers met, 500 consumers in each market, roughly, give or take here on each side of it, follow that message all the way back to the retailer's website. We'll talk to Adam a little bit anecdotally about whether he felt like it increases foot traffic, but this is a very modest spend to really, really amplify your retailer's marketing efforts in a set it and forget it type of environment. So anything else from this slide, Carrie, that you'd want to point out? Or have I covered it, do you think? What are your thoughts here? What's something that jumps off this slide for you specifically?
Yeah, I think you covered it, and I think what really jumps off to me is the 500, being able to rely on 500 people per retailer learning about pellet stoves. So we start with the assumption that people in your area don't know about pellet heating. And that's what we're trying to get at with this campaign. Did you know that you don't need a fireplace to have comfortable wood heating in your house? And here's how to get it. Here's where you go to find out more about that and to talk about making that happen. So 500 people over the course of the winter months where people are cold and they're thinking about their heating choices allows us to be very efficient and deliver the message widely in your area.
Again, the number that I just am sort of blown away by is this 187,122 unique users hearing about a Pro Pellet message with an action step available to them. Hey, come visit Martin Sales and Service. Come visit Stoves and Stuff. Whatever the case may be, very modest investment. That's a big number of folks that we know that message was put in front of. All right, let's move on. Talk just briefly about this slide. One of the things, Carrie, that I think Carrie has helped me understand is the amount of data that you can really get. Like the moment you kick these campaigns off is pretty compelling. The challenge on us is just using that data effectively. Isn't that right, Carrie? What do you talk a little bit about this slide for us?
Yeah, so this slide shows us so the chart on the right shows us a breakdown of who was clicking on our ads and how much we spent to get those clicks. But this is an example of the kind of data that we can collect here. And as you see here, the clicks skew towards the older markets. Those are the demographics of people clicking are mostly in the 55 and over range. So that's interesting to know. What was interesting to me is that it was split between men and women. We could even drill down to see which ads are more appealing to men and more appealing to women. So it helps us to figure out what messages are getting through to people, what's appealing to people about pellet heating, and what people in a particular market are responding to these messages as well.
Right. And so just by way of explanation, because I've looked at this particular graph a number of times, the blue bar is the percentage of, and on this side are male folks between the ages of 25 and 34. This blue bar represents the overall percentage of clicks. So total clicks, again, if you remember, was somewhere just south of 3,000, about 5% of our total clicks came from men between the ages of 25 and 34. And if you're looking to understand, well, who really clicked on, I mean, who had the plurality? I guess it's not the majority. Who had the most? Well, this chart makes it clear that men between the ages of 55 and 64 accounted for somewhere in the vicinity of 17% of the total action taken on our sponsored ads. So you really can get into some very granular details, and again, we can change the message on a month-to-month basis if you've got a specific interest in increasing the number of responses or traction with a particular age group. We can find out, hey, we think this is going to appeal to a younger audience, and then let the message play out for a couple of weeks. Look at a chart like this and realize, no, either yes, it did increase the percentage in that particular demographics, or geez, the demographics looked like they did pretty much last month. So again, you can constantly weigh your own understanding of how well the messages are working. So it's very, very compelling. And I would argue that this type of return in terms of data really just isn't available from any other marketing platform. All right. So I want to take the call back at this point and just sort of summarize again how this works, and welcome anybody who's hearing this, who's clicked on this, who's seeing this webinar after the fact, to reach out with further questions. But the campaign is engineered and priced to last 4 months from a start date. So if you're interested in getting started and want to start on September 1st, I would say if you reach out to us in the next couple of days, probably can get you set up to get started by September 1st without much problem. The program cost is $1,500. It does include $400 of advertising credits, and that's just a straight pass-through. So take away the $400 advertising credit, take away the PFI retailer membership, $300 of its own value, and really it's $800 to design, deliver, and administer the program for 4 months. Just $200 a month, basically. And I would challenge any retailer out there to figure out how to get a compelling social media campaign put together for themselves for less money. If you have the ability to do it yourself, maybe you can do it, but if you've got to hire someone or source someone in your community to do this for you, I don't think you can do it for $1,500 all in and get everything that you're going to get from this program. We create and run the whole program, and your involvement can be as minimal as once a month, letting Carrie know, hey, we're bumping up our discount on a year's worth of pellets to 50% if you buy an appliance this month, or we want to swap out these Adirondack chairs. We saw a Michigan themed Adirondack chair as an incentive last year. One of our beta test participants did that. That can be a once a month thing, or you can look at the reports on a near daily basis if you really want to get that into it. The ads, the sponsored content, again, directs the consumer not to the Pellet Fuels Institute website. We're not able to sell an appliance, and that's the goal for us, is that a consumer will make a decision for or towards a pellet appliance. So it doesn't come to us, it comes to your retail location. And these ads, the beauty of Facebook and Instagram targeted sponsored content is we can guarantee that if they see a Martin Sales and Service ad, that they're within a driving distance, a comfortable driving distance of Martin Sales and Service. Again, one more time, this is how it looks in a Facebook feed. If you're on your Facebook feed or Instagram feeds today, watch out for how long it takes to see sponsored content. It's usually the second or third content in your stream that you'll see. That's been my experience. If I jump over to Instagram after this call and see what my friends and family are up to, in about 3 or 4 posts, I'm going to be looking at some sponsored content. The PFI sponsored content social media program for retailers is very much the same, and you can see Martin Sales and Service sponsored ad there from last year's social media beta test. So everyone's heard Adam's name, and now is our opportunity to talk briefly with Adam about his experience as a social media beta test participant. Adam, welcome to the call. Are you there, sir?
I'm here. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm excited to, talk about this and hopefully help some other retailers out there and definitely grow the pellet market. I think is what we're all full goal is, whether you're a manufacturer of wood pellets or you're a retailer like myself, we all want to grow that market. So I think this is a great way to do that.
Great. First question for you, Adam, just to sort of set the table for us. How long have you been involved in specialty hearth retailing? The second part of that question is, how long has social media marketing been a part of your consumer marketing strategy?
I always stumble on the first question because I've been full-time in our family-owned business for 15 years now after college, but if anyone else out there has a family-owned business, I think you could vouch for the point that you grew up in the business. So I've been around the business and doing multiple things for many, many years. But social media has been a very important part of our toolbox that we use for marketing. If I were to guess, I would say social media for at least 8 years. And what I mean by that is doing the Instagram, the Facebook, the search engine marketing, ad remarketing back to our website. But if you also include a website in there, I believe we probably had a website for probably 18 years or longer now. So I could definitely judge and attest that we've done our fair share of social media marketing out there for quite some time now. And it's been definitely an important part of our marketing strategy.
Got it. And Adam, you were a participant in our social media beta test last year. How did you fit that in to your ongoing? You just outlined that you're, quite savvy with social media, had a website for 18 years, do remarketing, pop-up ads, those types of things. How did you let the social media campaign fit into that sort of broader portfolio of efforts to use social media to drive foot traffic into your store?
Yeah, it's always adding several pieces of that platform together. I would say out of all my social media that I do, all the advertising I do, social media is probably now about 60%. Growing up, we did a lot of yellow pages, a lot of print ads, a lot of TV, radio. I have strongly moved more to the social media side of things. I think Carrie has come up with some really nice images, really classy designs and layouts. A very enticing call to action. Like we spend most of our ads doing a free ton of pellets, which I think is very enticing to our customers to go ahead and click and learn more about pellet fuel. But at the end of the day, you have to do a little bit of everything. And I think this platform on just social media advertising in general is a major portion on getting in front of customers. And we're spending more and more towards social media and taking less from radio, TV, and print as well. So,
and this is a story that I like to share because I think it really does two things at once, or ask Adam to share rather. It helps illustrate sort of the nimble nature of social media advertising and a way to really point a message at a particular demographic. And I think it also sort of underscores the general challenge of really measuring the impact of any advertising spend. So, Adam, as to sort of set the stage, in our post beta test interviews, we asked specifically if he felt like there was an increase in floor traffic because of social media, and there was a bit of a smoking gun. Probably the closest thing to a smoking gun that we achieved during the social media beta test was about a specific age group that Adam targeted with our social media campaign. Talk just a little bit about that, Adam, and your sort of anecdotal notion of how effective that was.
Yeah, working with Carrie was really beneficial. I know one of the things I wanted to move a lot of my marketing strategy, which I think we were missing out there, in my opinion, for my business, was that segment about the 30 to 45 year-old customer that has their own home. In my opinion, I think that is the future of the pellet sales. It's the future of our business to enable and sustain growth in our industry. And I say that because, right now, demographic-wise, they're an energetic group. They've had very busy lives. They got demanding careers with family, events, commitments. And at the same time, this customer base is very excited, in my opinion, to remodel their home, update things. They're watching these network shows about how to update, remodel, do-it-yourself type things. And this customer, I think, is really important to them is making a house that they purchased a home. And I think that the pellet stove is a perfect option for them in many different ways. And when I think of this consumer base, because I'm in that segment, I have a lot of friends that are in that segment. I can tell you the things that are important to that segment is that there's many styles and designs to fit different decor out there, which we now have with pellet appliances. Renewable energy is very important to us. A big thing that I noticed is with the busy lives, the nostalgia of burning wood is very important to this customer base. But at the same time, a wood burning stove doesn't fit into their lifestyle. They don't have the time to cut, split wood, monitor that wood stove throughout the day. The pellet appliance gives them that option. So Carrie and I worked hand in hand quite a bit on adjusting some ads, looking at ways that we can stand out to this demographic. And I will tell you, amongst the ads that I worked with Carrie, as well as some of the other social media we were doing on our own, I did see an influx of customers coming into the store in this age group that knew nothing about a pellet appliance and say, hey, we kind of saw this on the internet or saw an ad. Tell me a little bit more about this. Like, I heard you can vent this right at a wall. We can save on our heating bills. At the same time, I've had a lot of personal friends of mine and family being like, hey, we saw your ad. We saw your ad on Facebook. We saw your ad on Instagram. I can honestly say that in the past, before I got more involved with the PFI, I had not heard that. So I know that those ads were being seen by that demographic. And I can't stress upon myself how I feel that demographic is the future, in a good portion of the future of growing this pellet market.
Great stuff. Sort of last question for you, Adam, and thanks again for joining and sort of sharing your story. What are your goals for the program this year? What would you like to see this year as you roll this into, again, a broader marketing effort? Yes, but what are your goals for the PFI social media, pellet specific social media marketing efforts?
I mean, I know for a fact, without a doubt, we're going to continue to use it. I also am going to continue to hit social media on other side of things with just happening to our business. But with the PFI, like I said, they're very professional ads. They're working. Carrie can give you really good results. I know a company like mine, again, I wear several hats in this company. I don't have the time to go out and look for someone to do this just for me and to help understand what's working and not working. That's what you're getting with this. You're able to work hand in hand with Carrie. She's able to give you the results. You can ask the questions. You can move the ads to different type of advertising strategies throughout the year and see what works for you. I truly believe, without a doubt, I mean, the results that I'm getting when I look at click-through rates and in such things as that sort, I mean, I'm noticing a continual growth of the demographic that I'm trying to target. I'm also trying to target, let's say, other demographics as well, but we are putting a little bit more into that. And I don't see any reason why I'm not going to continue to see more results when you keep that ball rolling and keep hitting that same demographic or whatever demographic you want to hit. Or if you just want to hit a general side of things, I'm not getting measurable results. I do TV, I do radio, I do print. I don't get the measurable results that I get from a program like this where we can really fine tune it and see what's being clicked on and what's not. So again, with it, the continual use of this, I see nothing more than an increase on results and click-through rate. So I'm excited to see another season of this.
Well, we're excited too, Adam. Thank you so much for joining the call. Glad to hear that you're off to a robust and strong start to the 2019-2020 heating season. Thanks for being part of what we do. So if you've heard some items that compel you to want to hear more, I'd ask you to raise a hand and reach out. Happy to set up one-on-one conversations. Again, the ultimate goal of this effort is the recognition by the PFI that we have not, up to this point, really had an oar in the water relative to new pellet user acquisition. And we want to get involved. We want to do what we can to aid our partners in the retail category in selling more pellet appliances. We look at our role in that as raising the profile of wood pellets with consumers who are considering a heating appliance purchase and delivering those consumers to you, the specialty hearth retailer, with that question on their mind, with a little bit more knowledge. Now, if they walk in and for whatever reason they make a different determination or a different decision regarding the fuel type that they're going to buy, I guess that's a risk that we're willing to take on. We look at this effort as a great opportunity to bring pellet heating to the forefront of consumers' minds when they're thinking about a heating appliance purchase, turning them over to you, and then letting the chips fall where they may. We know it's a great fuel product. We know it's a great appliance. We know it's a great heating solution. And if more consumers come in and ask our specialty hearth partners about pellet heating, we know we're going to grow the market. So please reach out to me, Tim at pelletheat.org. If you forget that, call the PFI. The number's on the website. Call us, email us. We'd be happy to talk with you more. We really feel like we've got this at a very cost-effective level. You'll be a PFI member. You'll start the program with $400 in sponsored content credits. So you basically come out of the gates already funded, and you can make a difference with a modest investment like that. With that, I'll thank Carrie and Adam for joining us. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your participation. Hope you have a terrific 2019-20 heating season, and hope you sell just a tremendous number of pellet heating appliances. We look forward to providing great fuel for those appliances. Until next time, I'm Tim Ports, Executive Director, Pellet Fuels Institute. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.